What is up, Mets fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Mets'd podcast. Guys, we did it. Everybody clap. You're in your car.
Woo!
Maybe don't clap in your car. Keep your hands on the wheel. Be safe. But hey, we did it. We won a series. And I'll tell you what, it wasn't ugly. No, it was ugly. Wasn't pretty. This is exactly what we told you the Mets would look like all offseason. We said it's going to be, if you love baseball, you got to watch this. And granted, game 2 was maybe one of the most disgusting games we've watched in quite some time and in almost a
Awful.
few months here. But the Mets did end up winning this series, and we got a lot to talk about. James, how's Italy? What's going on?
Italy's good. Happy to watch the Mets. Got a piece of every game this series, including almost full total games on Saturday and Sunday, which is fun because my dad was motivated to watch. We had pretty good service in the city of Milan, so we're watching on our phone at like restaurants and bars. Also, there's two things that happen in Italy that two of some of my favorite things that have ever happened in the world that you would love
Okay.
to bits and pieces. Number one, every single grocery store has a full section totally dedicated to prosciutto. Like
Wow,
like a
nice.
wall, like a whole open, like, fridge system where it's just like this kind of prosciutto, that kind of prosciutto, this kind of combo pack, this kind
It's
of
a
slightly
dream.
different combo pack. I've eaten so much prosciutto, capicola, salami this week. It's
The
despicable how much I've
gabagool.
eaten. 2, when you get drinks at bar during the day, as long as you clarify with them, you're drinking aperitivo. So, like, someone gets an Aperol Spritz or just you get a beer and you say aperitivo, they'll bring you just chips.
I love
Free
chips.
free potato chips at the bar in Italy, free potato chips. My mom today had, we went out for happy hour with they call aperitivo, and the guy gave her so much shit for kept asking her for chips. He came out because usually they just put 2 on the table, and then now she just heard me. She's talking shit now back to me, but he then put one right in front of her and said, "These chips for mama, these chips for mama, potato for her." No one pointed to all of us. Nobody touch her chips. Nobody touch her chips. But even my sister, shout out her, she ran the Milan Marathon today, 26 miles, insane.
Nice.
Most marathons when you're running around, they have like options for like they'll give you some little water. Here she said they were giving out a little fruit. There was a station halfway through the marathon where they had salami and prosciutto for the runners. And
Nice.
she said the Italian men were stopping and eating salami in the middle of a marathon. Cool.
That's
This
awesome.
this this country was built for you. You got to get here.
I got to get to Italy a little more often. Chips and meats, like at
Yeah,
every
nothing
corner. That's
better.
my life.
Literally, it was amazing. But
Do you guys
Mets
know
baseball.
Italian? You guys speaking Italian over there?
My mom pretends she took it in high school. Same with my sister, but she absolutely knows none. Basically everyone speaks English, and everyone's here thought we were Spanish. We've been getting a lot of family olas, so which is funny. That definitely offends a little bit, but English is good enough. It's good. That was a big city. People talk English.
All right, back to the Mets though. Let's get it started off just like we used to. The good old days. We get to do a little bit game by game going through these series here. Get it started off in game 1. We had Jose Quintana on the mound going up against Hunter Green. And just to get it started, Hunter Green was doing that
So
thing
good.
where he just looks like one of the best pitchers in baseball. Pretty much shut down this Mets order. Alvarez had a really rough night, struck out 3 times, did not look good against Hunter Green. One of the few times he has looked human this year. But gotta say, as ugly and as bad as Jose Quintana looks on the mound at times, like the walks are infuriating. It's so frustrating to watch this guy walk people. 1 run through 5 2/3. Like, I don't know how he does it. He's a magic man. He waves the magic wand and he gets out of trouble seemingly every single time. But Quintana got us started keeping the game close, which is huge.
He's done this his whole career too, just like a little nibbler, a little nibbler, a little nibbler. But he was working the fastball and the sinker on both sides of the plate. The curveballs and the changeups were all down. The command in those 2 pitches, I think, though, kind of held him back in this one. Those were kind of like out of the shadow, out of the chase zone, and they wound up just kind of bouncing half the time. And he wasn't able to get out of at bats. And there were some long at bats that turned into walks, and he had the same amount of walks as strikeouts, which we never want to have. But as gross as it is, like this Mets rotation as we've gone through this weekend and the debacle that wound up happening on Saturday, the number one thing we're looking for, Mark's favorite thing in the world, length. And he somehow has been the guy that actually can get it the most. But he didn't get finally through the 6th inning in this one. Have we had a guy complete 6 innings yet this year? We've had 1, 2, maybe.
Shamania did, I think, on
Tiger
the
Star, yeah, the
no
Tiger
hit
Star.
night. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, but I think that's still the only one. That's like right now has been the Achilles heel because we're just burning through these relievers because they have to go 4 innings every night, and we had a doubleheader and we had 2 extra inning games. But at least he's a guy who, as horrible as it looks and ugly, as much as I really truly hate watching him pitch, like it doesn't seem like batters are the most comfortable against him, and he finds ways to keep runs off the board
Yeah. Now, in terms on the offensive side of things, I said yeah again. You told me that I say yeah to start every
every time.
single sentence. It's again, I'm amicable. I agree. I'm a nice guy. I'm like, oh, James has a good point. I want to let him know. I agree. But here's where we're going here. Not going to say it. McNeil home run. That was nice. He still looks pretty horrible at the plate. Looks completely lost. His legs are going one way. His butt's going the other way. His arms, his shoulders, everything's out of whack. I'm gonna have to break down a little Jeff McNeil film maybe tonight after I'm done editing this podcast for everybody, so that I can see what's going on. I've been the swing whisperer with Jeff McNeil once before. He'd acknowledged that I found something that was wrong in his swing when he saw it on Twitter. Maybe I can do it again. Would love to turn the season around. But the thing I wanted to talk about the most in this game offensively, and just as a player in general, was the Brett Baty show. He was making plays in the field, 2 hits in this game. Great at bats. I think we're starting to see it. Someone even went at me on Twitter because I tweeted out a clip of Baty like having a good at bat, making a good play, saying it's starting to happen. We've been telling you that Brett Baty is a good baseball player, and it's all finally starting to culminate now, defensively, offensively, at the plate. Whatever he's doing, it's going well. Someone was like, dude, enough of this. Like, we know Brett Baty's a good baseball player. Like, I can't believe you never thought that. I'm like, no, buddy. You are mistaken. We've been banging the Brett Baty drum for 2.5 years now, and it's finally starting to pay off. Granted, he's not playing like at this all-star level, but this is so much better than anything we've had at third base in a long time.
Totally. We asked for Alec Boehm just with real defense. And right now we're getting Alec Boehm with real defense. And the real defense is happening in a very real way. He talked a lot, or I think maybe Gary talked about during the Saturday game, that Baty spent a lot of time with Lindor this offseason, just training and then back at
Yes.
spring training. And he said the thing he wanted to copy with Lindor, because you're never going to get Lindor's hands, you're never going to get Lindor's lateral quickness. But what he got from him, what he really wanted was his pre-pitch ritual, just what he does before the pitch is coming to be in a more ready position. Because Baty's a big guy. We kind of talked about that last year where he's a good athlete, but he's probably just not as mobile as like the best third baseman in the game. Like you see a Matt Chapman or a Key Brian Hayes play third base, and they look like shortstops playing there. Baty's never going to be that. He's a little lunkier, but what Lindor told him and what's been working for him is kind of just getting a little like hop into the play. He called it getting some air. And you can kind of see that it gets him much more in the balls of his feet. And you saw it so much in the 2 big plays he made on Friday, where the one play, the hot shot down the line, where he just dove down the line, made the play, and fired the shot to first. That was a great play. And that's like the kind of play that like is the cool highlight and it gets a good reaction because you dive in, you get dirty, you make the play. But I tweeted about this too. By far the most impressive play I think that Brett Baty's made in like his entire career was a dribbler hit basically at Francisco Lindor with Ellie De La Cruz hitting. And
Yes.
he charges in front of Francisco Lindor, which is that takes a lot of confidence, takes a lot of gusto, takes a lot of balls from the young third baseman right there, and fires a strike to Pete to get Ellie De La Cruz, one of the fastest players in baseball, at first base on a dribbler, keep him off the base paths. And we saw the havoc he wreaks on the base paths in every other game this series. And he talked about after the game, maybe Tim Healy talked about it, that the Mets actually prepared for this situation. People were giving the Mets shit, and we'll talk about it for Saturday's game. The Mets may have not been prepared for every situation in this game, or at least during the season in general. We'll talk about the fucking crazy first and third play, but they were like, if Ellie hits a dribbler basically to Lindor, Brett, you have to get in front because you're going to have the momentum to make the stronger throw. As good of a shortstop as Lindor is, we know he doesn't have the strongest arm. That's kind of a shortcoming, but Baty jumping across and making that play is amazing. And then you could just see like the mental change with Baty on that. And that's just not something he would have done last year. And seeing him do that and taking charge in the infield is really, really, really cool.
The confidence is dripping out of him. Like you said, he would not have cut in front of Lindor last year defensively. No shot. He would have just deferred to Lindor. There was a play, I think, in game 2 that was a little awkward where he thought Lindor, I think he deferred to him. He went to third. Lindor ended up going to cover second.
The Ellie
And the
check
ball
swing.
just, yeah, the alley check swing, which again caused havoc. This guy didn't really
Yes.
hit the ball hard like he normally does, but he caused havoc still, some way, somehow. But yeah, Brett Baty was phenomenal this week. This weekend. This weekend, he looked great defensively, offensively. These are the kind of things that make you feel super excited about the future for him. And same thing with Alvarez. I know Alvarez didn't necessarily have the greatest game in game 1, but he's still our best hitter technically right now, statistically on the team. So
Yeah.
those
And
two
more
guys
Bailey.
leading the charge, 3 and 4 or 4 and 5 in the lineup right now, was not necessarily how he drew it up, but I'm pleasantly surprised how they've looked.
Very upsetting that at the time of Saturday's game that Francisco Alvarez had sat 2 out of 3 games. There
Yes,
basically should never be a situation where he's not
they
playing at
did
least 5 out of
clarify
every 6 games in a week.
why Saturday he was sitting. It was because he caught a ball off his leg or off his hand late
Mm.
in the game on Friday night, and he had an 0 for night with 3 strikeouts. They were just like, we just want to kind of give him a rest there.
Okay, and also I wanted to cut back to the beginning. You talked about the Jeff home run. 2 funny things happened to Jeff home run. One, the cute note that Brandon Nimmo left him in his locker, like, "Hey Jeff, like swing it good pitches and like hit it where they ain't." And Jeff was like, "Yeah, there was no one in the right field stand. That's where I wanted to hit it." He was like, "All right, that's funny, but it's cute that like Nimmo's trying to be a leader and he tries to be a leader by writing notes to other players on the team and like signing them." And then also shout out their boy Jordan Simpson, Mr. Mets music over here. He again, we had Knob watch with Jeff McNeil. He switched his bat before this game again to the Pro XR Knob. Last week he was swinging the puck. So it's interesting that Jeff is trying to make these adjustments. Maybe we do want to have him on the show soon, and we don't have as many connections as we once did. But maybe reach out to him, give him a little swing talk because
Yeah, I
it'd be
think
nice to have.
Probably needs to be a little bit hotter right now. I don't think Jeff's gonna be looking to come on the podcast when he's hitting 105 or whatever
And
he's hitting currently.
also, it's a two-step process. You give him some swing help, then he gets hot, and then he comes on
Okay.
the podcast.
I'm
Yeah,
in. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's it.
That's
Two-step
like my
plan.
thank you is I'll fix your swing and then you can come on.
Yes, and then help us get Brett Baty on too because we want to talk to our boy 'cause he's fucking awesome. But
He's so awesome.
otherwise, then we had like weird bullpen stuff because Drew Smith did the whole thing where he like gets some outs and he gets guys on base and he gets out of it. But him, Rayleigh, Ottavino went right through. Diaz, little trouble, but right through, and you win a good game.
Win a good game. It was stressful. It was not fun to watch in the slightest. Like, I was
Like 4 hits.
exhausted. Yeah, I was exhausted on Friday night from just sitting and watching Mets baseball for 2.5 hours. I was like, I'm tired. Like, I need to have a drink. I need to do something. I can't just like shut off my brain right now and relax for the night. They cause me so much stress. Now, game two, luckily, if you are a March Madness fan, you had the opportunity to not watch this one. Even though the Mets did come out to an early lead, the way that they blew this one was just like so frustratingly bad. Not good at all.
Also, so shit because the Mets basically thoroughly dominated this game. They had chances to score early. They didn't fully capitalize on. They had the 8 hardest hit balls in this game. The hardest hit ball by a Reds player in this game was only 103 miles an hour, and that was a flyout by Christian Encarnacion Strand in the first inning. Severino looked amazing, and I definitely want
Yes.
to talk about that because that's another drum we've been banging. That after a really like a start that definitely didn't look good. We harped on this for the last 2 episodes. Now I'm gonna do it one more time. That Brewer start wasn't as bad as I think it looked. It was a lot of hits. I had a really funny tweet this week, a bit I think I'm going to keep going because it was like the perfect blend of making people angry and happy at the same time. And it went into like an explosion of impressions for me where George Kirby had a start similar to that Severino
Oh,
start, where it was like a couple well placed ground balls, 2 real hits, 2 balls that banked off gloves, and like 3 bloops. And I was like, the box score lied. Here's every hit that George Kirby gave up. And I got Guardians fans murdering me, especially because I have like the fact that I went to Ohio State in my bio. People are like, we gotta claim this fucking idiot. He went to Ohio State and now he's talking shit about the Guardians. Like, this is how real baseball is played. I had the old school baseball people like, that's the box score. They got hits. Hits are hits. Like, doesn't matter. Fuck exit velocity. But then I had like the other nerds who were like, yeah, you're right. And I got like. So I got like counter ratio, but then I got enough likes to like get like to run away from
nice.
the ratio, so it's still worth it. And the Mariners fans and all the fantasy baseball people were like, "Yeah, protect George Kirby at all costs." So I tweeted it like as kind of a joke, not a joke, but Baseball Savant did an update, so I had to wait 24 hours to even do it. And then when I did it 2 days after the game from Italy, I scheduled the tweet. I was out for the day, and I opened Twitter. I was like, "Oh my god, why do I have so many notifications right now?" But that was good. And then that Star Severino again was the same because sometimes if you're looking at a box when a pitcher gets blown up, hits. If you just see a lot of hits and like there's not a lot of home runs, not a lot of stuff, like that's the one thing where it'll get better next time because hits in baseball are just they're mostly luck at the end of the day. And you kind of
Yep.
see it in the start where Severino is just on the mound. He looks like a horse. He's throwing 97, 98 miles an hour. 82 of the 99 pitches Severino threw in the start were over 93 miles an hour. 82 of 99. And that was four seamers. That was two seamers. That was cutters. There's even a few sliders that go over 93 miles an hour. Like he just looked like it was just gas. At the end of the start, he just kept throwing fastballs and the Reds couldn't touch it. He ended this start with 9 straight fastballs. The last 9 pitches he threw in the game, pitches 90 to 99, and they averaged 96.9 miles an hour. Like this is what makes Severino so good is he can just do that over and over again. The guys can't catch up, and they couldn't. He had one really bad inning, which was similar to his first start, where the Mets defense failed him. And I think that's kind of the crux of a bigger problem, where the Mets defense has been so much worse than we thought it was going to be heading into the
Which
year.
is funny because at third base, it's been great. And that was a huge
Amazing.
problem with the defense last year.
But it's everything else. Tyrone Taylor trips and falls going for a fly ball. A ball bounces off Jeff McNeil's glove with the infield in when he tries to like make a little like scoop on the side of him and nail a guy at the plate where probably should have got the out of first base and allowed the beginning. Then a hot shot also that goes off Pete Alonso's glove. I think Pete's playing some of the worst defensive first base he's ever played in his career right now.
Yeah, really
It's
bad.
been really bad. He like tripped and fell on a pickoff attempt the other day where it's just like just gotta get the feet under yourself right now, Pete. But he got through that inning, but then like you see how that inning kind of snowballs because he wound up throwing 30 pitches in the inning where he should have thrown 10. He had to get 5 outs. And then he comes out after the fifth inning where he should have been able to pitch the sixth. And then you kind of extend the game by an inning. When we found out after the game, the only relievers available for the Mets were Johan Ramirez, Jorge Lopez, and I guess technically Julio Teheran, and that was it
Yeah.
because of how many guys they used on Friday and the doubleheader on Thursday. And now you're like, oh, but this kind of stinks. We're like almost have no chance to win this game because one little inning that only wound up allowing one run snowballs. But again, Severino was awesome, very confident in that start, but this game was so awful.
What is the apprehension by the Mets to use Jorge Lopez? It seems like they have no interest in using him. Like, listen, Adam Ottavino has done a decent job these last two outings against the Reds still scares me that the guy who was our eighth inning guy in 2022, then got demoted last year because he was bad and was basically used in mop up situations, is now back to our eighth inning guy, it seems like, because he gets every opportunity. I'm not saying it should be Jorge Lopez's. He has to prove it. But where's he been?
I think it so happened that the 8th innings that Ottavino pitched weren't against the meat of the Reds order. So I think there
Okay.
might be some matchup stuff happening there, but he did pitch against Riley Green, again, the lefty, the last episode that
Yeah.
made us both want to run up a wall. But it's fun you talk about the apprehension of Jorge Lopez because in that Tiger series, in game one of the doubleheader, when basically everybody's available, he throws the top of the 10th inning with the ghost runner on
Yeah.
base, and he has a shutdown inning. And he comes in today, and like sometimes the curveball is a little weird on him, but like the stuff is really good. And he's a guy who can get lefties and righties out because of that great curveball. So I don't understand. And also just the way that inning was handled. So now again, we're kind of jumping around, but that 8th inning for the Mets was so hard to watch because Johan Ramirez didn't have it. He gets through the 7th inning and he looks good. You should be running away when I got a mosquito flying around me. I'm gonna try and grab it during the show. He's coming
Nice.
to he's on my light. He's on my light. He's literally sitting on my light. Oh
You
god.
got mosquitoes in Italy in April?
It's a nice day. It was 75 degrees today. It's nice.
Wow.
Going to Morocco tomorrow. It's gonna be 90. It's gonna be amazing. But I lost train of thought for a second. Oh yeah, so that happens, and Johan Ramirez just doesn't have it. He's coming in. Where Johan Ramirez gets through a clean inning, you should make like a bandit and run, especially when Jorge Lopez is available. And then once the game gets out of hand, now Jorge Lopez is warming up. Why didn't he just start the inning? Like, there should be a situation where, like, if you know you don't have these guys, take what you get, take your victories when you have them, and kind of just figure out the next inning when it comes. Like, you can't be thinking about the 8th and 9th inning and the 7th inning. You
No.
just can't. This team doesn't have enough body right now to be doing that. So that was the most frustrating thing for me, apart from other weird shit that happened between these innings.
Well, you also have the idea that I don't know how it seems like every year, but the Mets like always don't have enough bullpen arms. It feels like every other team just uses guys, and the Mets go, "We have
They're
like
thinking,
six guys unavailable today," and you're like, "How is that even possible?" I don't understand. We have to take our first ever shot at David Stearns here. We have to do it. Reed Garrett being on the roster, even though he was unavailable, with an option that we now found out is on there,
bad.
inexcusable. Why was he on the team still?
He throws 3 innings and 3 amazing innings. Kind of had a huge hand winning the Mets the
Huge.
game on Thursday, like we talked about. The first win in a while that kind of put the season back on track, which only Mets fans can say shit like that on April 4th. But he has an option and he's not available for 3 days. Send him to the minor leagues. I don't get why he's on the team if he can't pitch and he's not limiting it. If you even have Grant Hartwig, who I don't think anybody really wants to see again, but just other relievers down there with options, bring them up, let a guy pitch an inning. If you have bad pitchers, they can get through an inning. That's kind of
Yes.
that's how relief pitching was invented. You're not good enough to get through multiple innings, so try and get through one inning. Just throw as hard as you can and get through one inning. This was a big weekend where the concept of throwing as hard as you can had a lot of discourse because everyone's getting surgery. What'd you do?
Nope, I clicked the wrong thing. I thought for a second that the Mets active roster, I'm like, oh, they have no other relievers that they can bring up. Untrue. I clicked active, not 40 man. Tons of options, including our boy Fuji. Where's Fuji
Yeah.
at?
I don't know. I haven't seen anything about Fuji, so I'm not going to talk because there's definitely a chance that he's stinking in the minor leagues. But
Yeah,
mosquito.
this mosquito's got your interest here.
Hey, I don't want to get bit. He's just the fact that again, Garrett had the option. We wound up trying to like was Carlos Mendoza's plan to just pitch Rohan Ramirez the rest of the game? Like, is that the plan? And also,
Maybe.
if one guy has to throw 2 innings and one guy has to throw 1 inning, you have 2 guys available. Why don't you just trust the better one to try and do the 2 innings? Like, right? Like, why
Yeah.
not just use him for the 7th and then 8th and 9th Jorge Lopez? And then even they got Julio Teheran warming up, and he's the scheduled starter for the next game the Mets play on Monday. It's like, why now is he warming up when this game's out of hand? Like, I don't just let him finish the game. We're dead already. But that was really annoying. The other really annoying thing that happened, another Mets up tweet that went semi-viral here. Just been hot as hell on there. The Mets fell for the oldest trick in the book in
Yeah.
baseball. The Reds had guys on first and third, 2 out, and they stole second base. And the Mets threw down, and the run came home to score. And that was such a critical run this game because I went from a 4-2 game to 4-3 game, or three. It was wound up being a 2-run game to 1-run game. And I was sitting there with my dad, and we were like, "Did that just happen?"
And it was
I
O
don't.
two, right?
It was 0-1, and the pitch was a
Okay.
strike. But also, Stuart Fairchild was on first base, and he's fast as hell. He's 90th percentile sprint speed guy. He's playing center field for the team. He's been the TJ Friedel replacement. And then a lefty, Jake Diekman, was on the mound. So Spencer Steele was 20 feet, 30 feet off the bag at third already. So it's like,
Yep.
what, what was the plan there? Then there was a little bit of misdirection happening in the media because Carlos Mendoza said after the game to the press, I probably would have eaten that one. But then Tim Healy reported that the Mets had given the sign to Narvaez to throw that ball. So now it's like,
Hmm.
miscommunication. Who's throwing who under the bus here? Weird thing. I think the Mets winning on Sunday kind of quieted that storm a little bit, but
Yeah.
it was this game where another situation this year, which basically happened like one or two of these in every series, where it's like, what the hell was that? That was not something that like a prepared, fundamentally sound baseball team would should do.
Yeah, we in high school, which this is how you know it's such a bush league. It's not bush league at all, actually. I don't want to say that. Good on the Reds
Not
for making the Mets look stupid. But
totally.
like the idea is that it's such a little league play that we had it in high school. Shout out our legendary old coach Bob Brewster, coaching for 30 years at Westfield. We used to have a play, especially when lefties were on the mound, that the guy on first base would take an extraordinary lead because the lefty pitcher can literally see him. And the whole idea is the lefty pitcher is going to then try and pick him off to first base, or they're going to throw the pitch. He's going to steal. They're going to throw down to second, forget about the guy on third. He scores an easy run, easy way to steal a run. The fact that the Mets fell for that is pretty inexcusable because it's one of those plays, too, that even in high school we were prepared for if it happened against us. So it was like there was no excuse for the way that happened. If that was the play that was called, you have to stick by it. The miscommunication there is what is confusing and a little bit concerning as well.
Yeah, and also maybe especially the fact that usually if a play like that happens and there was miscommunication, usually the manager is the guy who takes the heat for it. Similar
Yeah.
to the bunt play that happened in the Tigers game where Mendoza was just like he's defending the decision he made, which is like fine. As long as it's a bad decision or a bad play, like take the heat as the manager. But the fact
Yeah.
that there were different narratives coming from the catcher and the manager, that's weird vibes for me. And also the fact that Armand Narvaez is not like a cat back there. He's not the most athletic. The pop
No.
isn't exactly what it would be from like Francisco Alvarez. Also, the arm is not exactly like it's not really like Buster Posey level. So you and the
Take
Mets.
stolen bases against the Mets any chance you guys get. Take players to steal.
Well, that's what I was going to say. The Mets have the most stolen bases attempted against them this year, and the most stolen bases made by the teams against them this year. So this is something that we're going to see over and over again. So the Mets just have to respond. It's a shame that all of these weird, terrible things happened once Severino came out of the game because he looked really good, and the offense also for the first time this year looked really good.
Yeah.
Marte was on base 3 times, stole a few bags. Nimmo had an RBI hit early, had 3 hard hit balls. Baty had a few more hits. Narvaez was 3 for 3. Lindor kind of crazy 9 hit 3 for 3 was amazing, but Lindor like you saw the foreshadowing of finally his first good game of the year Sunday, and he had 2 hard hit balls, which small victory, but we'll take it.
Yes.
Tyrone Taylor, another RBI. So like things were clicking, and just the fact that for some reason the Mets only had 2 relievers available. One of them is basically a quadruple A reliever, and he had to pitch 2 innings. And then you're like not like just playing fundamental baseball, and then you blow a game because of it. You blow a sweep because of it. It's very annoying.
Yeah, that was a frustrating one for sure. It caused me to have a couple extra beers while watching March Madness out at
I
Plug
got so
Uglies.
mad. I got so mad watching the game. My dad like stormed out because we were watching the game, a 4 o'clock game, 6 hour difference, starts at 10, ends at 1. It's like watching a West Coast game. When it happened, he goes, I'm going to bed, I'm going to bed, I'm going to bed. He just went, he left. He was so pissed. But it was shit because again, like these are such easy things that you
Such
would
easy.
hope that the team is ready for, and they just seemingly weren't, and it's frustrating.
Luckily, like we said, they did win the series, though. Game 3 was a little bit more of Mets baseball, like we told you. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be stressful. You got to love baseball to watch this team this year. I love baseball. It's hard sometimes to watch this team right now. Like, it is frustrating. But Francisco Lindor finally seemed to look a little comfortable. I'm going to say this, though. I've had no more lefty. Just hit righty, please. Just swing righty. Your righty swing is so much better. It's so much quicker to the ball. Granted, this happens every single year. His righty swing always seems to be ahead of where his left-handed swing is. Part of the reason why he starts slow. But man, his righty swing is just so much better.
It is, and you it just saw that he was very ready to play, but also just the pure irony of the fact that he gets the double in the first inning to get the first run, and Alvarez drives him home. Comes up again after bases loaded, double play. You're like, oh
Yep.
my god,
Smoked it.
yeah, smoke. I mean, but there's also that was a play where it felt so obvious that he's pressing right now
Yeah.
because he was ahead in the count 2-1. He had taken a pitch, he had fouled one off, and then there's just like a little low and outside, little I think it was a little color, a little bullshit slider from
Yeah.
Andrew Abbott, the lefty, and he just flailed at it and he pulled the ground ball. Like if that's a pitch where he served it over the first baseman's head,
Yes.
amazing piece of hitting. But it seemed like again he wanted to have the shot. Like it's almost like he saw the fence 200 feet away in Cincinnati. And it's like I'm going to blow this game up right now because we see that there's a feeling of pressure with the Lindor family right now. We tweeted about it on Saturday, but Patti Lindor shared some direct messages that are so appalling and so
Fuck
disgusting
those people. Fuck them.
for any Mets fan that is going after somebody's family because somebody had a
Wife
bad
and
start to the
kids.
season, a bad week. If this week happened in May, half the people would even know this. The mutants would know this because they do anything they can to chastise Francisco Lindor. But
Yes.
the guy who's been worth the 4th most WAR in baseball for the last 3 years, for some reason he has a bad week, and people tell his wife that they should all die. It's ridiculous. But then also, I love
Insane.
that Kati came out on Sunday and it's like, you guys see, he's still good, he's still
Oh,
good.
she
But
did?
she did. She was tweeting all day. You didn't see that? I put it
Oh,
in the
hell
notes.
yeah. She
Yeah.
clapped back?
she's been clapping back. It's
Let's
amazing, but
go, Mrs. Lindor. Way to go.
cool to see him get those hits. Cool to see him hit well. Cool to see him be the engine, the top of the order. Because like you can see now in a game where again most of the teams still can't hit. Jeff McNeil looks
So
horrific,
lost.
atrocious. But just again, nice to see that like he can have a game that basically wins you a game.
I understand Harrison Bader hit the ball hard today, but oh man, that's like have a shot every time Harrison Bader hits the ball hard. You're not going to have many drinks this year.
Francisco Lindor hit it hard 3 times.
Yes, yes. But yeah, the offense was better today. Like you said, 9 hits. Tyrone Taylor. I know the numbers aren't great. Ball player though. Love Tyrone
Mhm.
Taylor. Something about him's just he screams ball player. And I'm impressed by his play, even though he had that weird play in the outfield the other day. And then on the mound, let's talk about pitching here. Sean Manaea.
Awesome.
Sean Manaea looking really, really good again. And you know what it is too? And I'm sure you're going to talk about it because you're the pitching guy here. But that fastball's got some extra life on it right now. He's sitting like 95, 96, and I think that's the difference maker.
I talked about it last episode. I'm definitely gonna fire off a tweet after this game about it. Quote tweet Mets'd up to get that engagement up. But he does have some more life in that fastball. Looks like he definitely put on some weight and he did another
Yes.
winter at drive line. So the fastball's been harder, but he definitely does the thing that I hate where he's throwing as hard as he can at the beginning of the game, and then it gets like slower and slower and
Mm.
slower and slower as the game goes on. Where he was hitting 96 like the second inning, but then by the time you get to the third, fourth, fifth with him, it's like all right, now the
He did
fastball's
look
down to
gassed.
yeah, it's 92, 93, and we gotta get out of this jam. But he does a thing that's cool. Again, I talked about it last time where he's not going to have the good ride in the fastball because he has that like sidearm 3/4 and he's playing off the sweeper. And the Reds against Manaea, only righties in the lineup today. Only righties. He didn't face one lefty, but he's throwing that fastball from that weird slot and it's coming so in because he has so much run into the righty, so much run. And I'm not going to say it's something that will cause a guy a fit, but it's definitely not the most comfortable at bat when like every single
Super
time you're getting a
uncomfortable.
fastball in your hands and it comes from a weird angle and then the sweeper can drop right down because he'll bury you in that sweeper and cutter all on your hands. If you guys look at his pitch illustrator in Baseball Savant, he's throwing fastball, sweepers, cutters, basically all in the exact same spot, just kind of begging guys to just like, hey, do something with this, do something with this. And the Reds hitters couldn't do anything with it. Like he had the one jam again that he wound up getting out of, and I think the second, third, fourth inning that again, similar to Severino, limited this from a 6 inning start to a 5 inning start. They only hit 3 balls hard. I don't remember any of them being particular screamers. One of them,
Oh,
one of them, one of them was 105, but then two of them were just 96, barely even a hard hit ball. And then it's just uncomfortable. He got the strikeouts, the sweeper got the whiffs, the cutter looked good. Like it was good. It was a really good start. And I think this is a better Mania than I expected, but then it's still the fact that I don't I don't think he's going to be like a 6, 7 inning pitcher usually. I think
yeah.
he's mostly a 5 and dive because when that fastball does start to go down, you can feel the effectiveness drop. And when that effectiveness starts to drop, it gets a little bit scary, especially when every single hitter in the lineup against him, like the Reds did today, is a righty. But it's still good.
And granted, that is also a little more scary too because we're in Great American Ballpark
Yes.
and that ball flies
Yes.
there. Now, luckily today the ball was not flying because the wind was blowing in. That also helped a little bit too here with the game, just limiting the home runs. But yeah, Manaea and City Field, maybe Manaea and City Field. That's why they love him even so
Awesome.
much because they're like,
Yes.
no one really hits the ball hard enough to get it out. And at City Field, we know home runs, that's where they go to die. But yeah, really impressed with what he's done thus far. And you talking about that left handed fastball in on a right handed hitter, one, as a hitter, hated it in high school. Two, as a catcher, begged left handed pitchers, please do this because you know this is an uncomfortable feeling. So I like the fact that the Mets are doing that because that's something the Mets have not done a lot in the past in previous years is throw inside.
You love that Mark's talking about playing high school baseball now 3 official times on this podcast.
You
Legendary.
talk
But
about
also the
pitching. How
fact
many pitches did you throw in your career? How about that?
never ending. I had no arm. I was horrible.
I
I just
know.
like analyzing it. It's just fun. But also the fact that he stands in the first base side of the rubber and just lets that pitch go with the motion. Go.
Yeah.
More time is running in the guy is really cool. But again, the one thing that again, I think is just who Sean Manaea is. I think this might be the way he's like kind of learned how to pitch. This is coming from the Giants school of pitching where it's like we're just looking for outs. Like we don't really care. Like get as many outs you can while you're on the mound. So it's just seeing that pitch velocity drop, 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 drop in the line graph
Yeah.
through the start. I do hate that, but I don't know. Maybe that's just again. I'm not gonna change. Don't change the way you pitch. If they ain't broke,
Yeah.
don't fix it. So just keep doing your thing. But that's always gonna limit him from being a guy who can become like a real 2-3 rather than being a 3-4.
And to kind of just put a nice bow on everything in this series, Edwin Diaz looked great again in game 3. He
So
was
good,
disgusting. That
so good.
slider is just in awesome form right now. Like they don't know how to hit it.
Great overall from the bullpen. The Mets didn't give up a hit in this game after Manaea left the game. Every single really
Yeah.
a couple walks, couple walks. Brooks Raley, the first time this year, he didn't look like super sharp, but he still got out of it. No, like very light contact. Lopez, Raley, Alvino, Diaz. You can see that this bullpen, while some days it feels very bad, some days like this it feels really good. And the Reds, you just swept through them and ended this game fast.
Almost like a couple podcast hosts have told you guys this is exactly what was going to happen. We just didn't expect them to start the year like 1-5, but this
It's just
was
the
this was
defense.
a very very Mets series of this is going to be what the team looks like all year. When they win, it's going to be close games. When they lose, it's going to be chaos.
Yeah, and again, all these games have been close this year. This is the first time the Mets have won a game this year by more than 1 run, which is pretty annoying. But also, like, if the Mets were just able to catch baseballs this series and, like, kind of manage
Or
the game a
hit.
little, yeah, if any little thing was happening differently in, like, half these games, the Mets might be above 500 right now, which is funny because, like, the whole world right now is so against the Mets. The fact they look like
Season's
dead
over.
dogs. Yeah, I had my best tweet of all time yesterday where I tweeted that, like, the hilarious, like, Silent Hill SpongeBob picture, which I
Yes.
love so much, and then my first ever 20,000 likes. Amazing. I went to bed and I woke up, I was like, "Holy shit."
Well, how about yesterday when Dalton, our buddy Dalton in Arizona, texts us? He's like, "What's the hope for the Mets?" And granted, this was after the blow up
Saturday.
inning and everything that was going on Saturday. I said, "I have zero hope." I was done. I was done at that moment. I was like, "I can't watch.
No, because it felt like that, but then they win the game on Sunday, like, "Alright, let's see it," and
I'm
then
back."
yeah, it's right, we're back. We're gonna have to go to Atlanta. We're gonna preview that series in a second, but just to also catch up on a few things happening in Mets land. Number 1, some weird things happening with JD Martinez. He's going to
Yeah,
sit for a few days because of general soreness. I don't like that. I don't know
don't
why
love it.
that's happening. This
Don't
seems
love
kind of
it.
awkward to me.
Where the
I
fuck is he?
I don't know if it's possible. I'm sure the Mets didn't sign him a contract with an out, but he might have looked around and been like, "I don't think I want to play for this team anymore." Like,
Maybe I don't want to be here.
I'm a little bit scared about that. But him saying I'm going to take a few days off this week for general soreness because he was supposed to come back Sunday in Cincinnati. Then they were like Brave series. Now he's like, nah, no Brave series for me.
I'm getting a little flashbacks to another guy whose name started with a J and ended in a D. Do you remember what the letter was in between by any chance?
Yeah, it was an E for excellent.
Yeah, JED. I don't think it's gonna be that case. You know what? Pray to God it's not that case because I don't know if I can handle that again. But like, where the fuck is he? How is it taking so long to get ready to hit? I don't get
Every-
it. I was giving him
Everyone's
credit.
Everyone's like, "Yeah, you could roll out of bed and hit," but that doesn't seem like you can roll out of bed and hit because now he's taking a couple days off in Syracuse for general soreness. Who wants to spend more time in Syracuse? Let's be honest here. He's spending extra days in Syracuse in April, but also he's like, it's not for timing. He's taking a few days off for general soreness.
General
Why, JD?
soreness.
Just come and
Was he
play,
playing the
please.
field? Were they letting him play the outfield? He should only be hitting. That's the only thing he should be doing. Don't let him step on the field. Don't let him step on the outfield grass. That's actually what I wanted to say. He can step on the dirt, no grass.
I don't know. I really don't know. And another thing that again, we have to say this as a little bit of a critical shot at David Stern, especially when the bullpen's been handled this weekend. Mets took a player in the Rule 5 draft this year, Justin Slayton, who we talked about briefly when we were still in the days where we had to just be positive ad nauseum. And the Mets wound up trading him during the Rule 5 draft, basically, for cash and a minor league pitcher. And he looks so good for the Red Sox. He's running like a
Looks awesome.
50% strikeout rate, like a 60% whiff rate. He's throwing gas. He has a big sweeper. In this entire Red Sox pitching renaissance, that might just be them playing the Oakland Athletics a lot, just and the Mariners start the
Yeah.
season in Seattle. He looks really good. He looks really, really
Yeah.
good. And I'd love to have him in this bullpen right now. Maybe it was a fear that he didn't have an option, but if he was in this bullpen, they wouldn't need an option because
Oh,
he'd
he has
be
an option. Oh, because he doesn't have
no
an
Rule
option
5
with the Rule
draft, yeah.
5. Yeah.
But he'd be the second best reliever in this team right now. And I really wish he was here.
No, he's definitely got some stuff. He's looking nasty pitcher for the Red Sox. Also, shout out the South Carolina Gamecocks. Just took down the mighty Caitlin Clark.
No.
National champions, won by 12. Not even close.
Wow, Caitlin Clark. Oh, I kind of wish
Is Caitlin Clark like is she the
I,
new LeBron? Like she couldn't
I
win
caught
for
the
a while?
mosquito. You guys see that
Oh,
mosquito?
wow, good catch. You got to
Caught it
kill it
during
though.
the
It's still
pod.
moving a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I got him. He's done.
Caitlin
Yeah.
Clark, can she win the big game? That's the next question.
Gotta see you in WNBA.
All right, let's talk about the last thing here because we want to talk about, we have
Two
our
things.
stupid take of the week. Stupid take of the week before we go into the Brave series. And this kind of fills into it. Something that I sent to James earlier today, everybody's favorite reporter who's never gotten anything wrong, John Morosi, not going by JP anymore, John Morosi, talking about there's a big conversation right now in baseball because of arm injuries. Is it velo related? Are pitchers, should they be throwing so much velo? Dr. James Andrews came out, said it used to be all major league and minor league players and then college players getting Tommy John. And now he's seeing that it's way more youth players than it even is guys at the professional level in terms of even the percentages of guys that he sees. So the conversation of velo and being a multi-sport athlete has come up a lot, gives you a lot of bad takes. John Morosi, I think, has one of them. And he says, if the Braves' big three were amateurs today, they might not have opportunities to play pro ball, which definitely wrong. They for sure would have the opportunity to
Yeah.
play pro ball. That's where he's super, super wrong. They would be in the minor leagues at the absolute worst. They would still probably be major league players. But Glavine and Smoltz were multi-sport athletes from cold weather states. Maddox and Glavine weren't hard throwers. Spin, max velo, sports specialization are hurting today's pitchers. Now, here's what I'm going to say. I bet you Tom Glavine and Greg Maddox probably had pretty elite spin on those off-speed pitches as well. I'm going to go out on a limb and say they weren't just throwing tumbling pitches, weak sliders and curveballs. Like Tom Glavine was disgusting. Fuck him, but he was disgusting. Greg Maddox, no velo, but had incredible command. And again, nasty movement. The pitches were moving like crazy. That's not happening because he had bad spin. He wasn't worried about the spin on his balls. And then John Smoltz, like the cold weather multi-sport athlete thing. There are plenty of players that are still multi-sport athletes, come from cold weather states. And if you really want to like pick one that would be the closest in terms to like the Tom Glavine type pitcher of not throwing hard, Marcus Stroman's 5'7", maybe on a good day. Multi-sport athlete, pretty good pitcher. Mets fans, I know you hate him, but pretty good pitcher.
Well, there's sports that Marcus Stroman play.
He played basketball and stuff in high school. So like he was playing multiple sports.
Okay,
Tom
well, not
Glavine,
like
granted, could have gone professional
yeah.
in hockey, of course. I don't know what Smoltz' other sport was, to be fair.
I mean, I don't know. Basketball, hockey could have been any, but it's also funny that this same organization, the Braves, are the team that originally like scouted and developed Michael Soroka, who
Yeah.
compared so similar to these guys as a guy who was like spin and command. But I think there's a hint of truth in what John Morosi was saying. I don't think he executed what he was trying to say well, just because
No.
in modern baseball, I think you get drafted on velocity, you get moved to the
Of
majors
course.
on velocity. Like Paul Skeens, Jackson Jobe, these guys throwing 102 miles an hour in the minor leagues right now. And a guy like Justin Steele, he has to like scratch and claw for years to anybody to give him like even a modicum of respect. I think
For
of
sure.
who's some of the soft tossers right now who are making a name for themselves.
I'll
Braxton
tell you,
Garrett, I guess in a way, but I don't know.
Reed Detmers was a first-round pick, 10th overall, and he probably profiles the most similar, in quotations, because they're not, but to Tom Glavine in that like through mid-90s was good breaking balls.
Two pushbacks on Detmers. One, he's added 5 miles an hour, 6 miles an hour since he was
Since,
drafted.
yes, of course.
And then also the other side of that too, he was drafted by the one team baseball, Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. I don't want to model any of these like modern takes after because
But
they.
that is like 1990s, like they're still in the 90s.
Well, that I get that. That you're kind of echoing Morosi's point now. Now you're on his side. Again, there's a hint of truth there where it's like you're not getting drafted for touch and feel anymore as a pitcher. You're like
Not as much.
I think we might have had this discussion a few weeks ago. Or maybe I just saw it on Twitter where I think we might have just been drunk at the bar. Where we were like, "What round does Greg Maddox get drafted in nowadays?"
That wasn't with me. Yeah.
Okay, it wasn't with you, I guess. Oh, you know what it was? I think it was when I was hanging out like with Nick Pollock at that
Gotcha.
stuff, and I think we kind of settled on like between the 5th and 10th round, and then
I was
kind
going
of
to say
depends.
5th to 10th just now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a pitching prospect who I love so much, but like I don't know if he's going to be good yet in the Diamondback system. Yumin Lin, who he
Oh,
has
yes.
like some crazy pitches. He has a good fastball with good action on it. He has a slider, he has a changeup, he has a curveball. He mixes everything, but he tops out about 92, 93 miles an hour, and really he sits like 90 to 92, 91 even. So, and he's a guy who's had amazing results in the minor leagues. And he gets no credit at all in the prospect circles, even though the results are amazing. And he's really never been not effective. Just I think besides the spring breakout game, which is funny, but you don't get the credit for being that kind of pitcher anymore.
For sure.
And like a guy like Aaron Nola, has been a horse, a
Awesome.
monster as a major league pitcher. He was no kind of prospect, and there was never a second where he wasn't good. Like it's just a weird thing in between. Like maybe Nola was like an MLB
Aaron
pipeline
Nola
guy,
was the 7th overall pick in the draft.
but what was his peak prospect rank? Could you find those on pipeline
Yeah,
quickly?
I can find
Probably
that
not.
for you. No, I can find that. I can find it. Give me 2 seconds here while you keep talking. His highest on pipeline was 37.
Okay, so that's actually a pretty good prospect. I take that one
Yeah.
back. But again, it's still he wasn't like a premier prospect. But also, we didn't really have prospects the way we have prospects now back then. Maybe Greg Maddox wasn't this like superstar premier prospect. He might just came up and dominated. Because once you come up and dominate, it doesn't really matter anymore. Most of the good pitchers that we see these days aren't. Not that's not true. It's kind of half true. But like I
We'll
feel
say
like
Greg
always.
Maddox was also a 2nd-round pick, so he wasn't even a first-round
That's
pick
true. All right.
then. So like that's the other thing too. That's why I think that this take is also bad because it's like this is a really easy way to get stupid people. Tom Glavine 2nd-round pick as well, by the way. This is
Hmm.
a really easy way to get like stupid people. I'm not calling you one because I think you do have some points here that their velo and projectability, I think even more so, is what's important now when evaluating these prospects, taking them towards the top than these others. John Smoltz was a 22nd round pick, by the way. Just want that to be known
Okay.
too.
So
So
yeah.
he couldn't have picked worse players, honestly, maybe for this entire situation because these were all guys that didn't even get drafted early on 30 years ago. So dumb take of the week, John Morosi, idiot.
Shout out, Brent Strom too, definitely, like, one of the best pitching minds we've had over the last decade. Because I know that he's someone who, when he scouts pitching, develops pitches. Like, he doesn't really care about velocity at all, like, he likes having it, but he's kinda like, you either have it or you don't. Like, he wants
Yeah.
to see guys working, breaking balls in different counts. He wanna see how guys respond with pressure with guys on
Back
base.
Allen.
Yeah, Zach Allen's a great example of that, and that's the organization Newman Lin, Merrill Kelly, the way he's pitched the
Great.
last few
Yep.
years. And then a lot of these guys who came up with the Astros during his tenure there, at least were scouted and developed. Christian Javier has great movement on that fastball, but it's not big velocity. Framber Valdez is a bowling ball who throws
Yeah.
like crazy sinkers and curveballs. That's like a very
Keep
obscure
building me up.
guy. But I'm just saying, like, I again, now I'm agreeing with you more now, but I think there's like, this is just, it was a bad weekend for baseball takes
Yes.
just because the Spencer Strider injury. Now, as we transition to the Braves preview, it does suck for baseball. It's good for other teams in the National League, but it sucks for baseball because
Sucks for baseball.
he's basically no, not basically. He is the most exciting pitcher in baseball. Whether or not you think he's the best pitcher in baseball, he's
That's
definitely the
fine.
most exciting. He has the best stuff. He's the most interesting, I think. The way he pitches, the way he talks about pitching, the way he's like so cerebral, but also throws 100 and he's 5'9" and he's got
Fuck
these
'em
big
though.
quads. Yeah, fuck him, hate him. But I
Clemson.
like baseball better when he's involved in it. And it sucks that he gets hurt. Shane Bieber also is
Yes.
going under the knife. Garrett Cole went down, Sandy Alcantara went down. Like, it seems like half the good pitchers in baseball right now are injured and are basically not going to pitch this year. That hurts the product. It hurts the game. It hurts everything. It makes it less fun to be a part of this league. And everybody had takes. There was this weird video that went viral of like a pitching drill when you're flexing your elbow backwards. And I don't know. No one knows the answer. We don't have medical degrees. It seems like throwing as hard as you can 100% from the second you step on the mound to the second you
Not
step
great.
off might be a problem. It might, like, intuitively. Tony Clark said stuff about the pitch clock, the head of the players union. Maybe that's a problem too, but we don't have any irrefutable medical evidence yet. But it's just a good way for them to get some clicks and that get some, because the players union has been getting just murdered the last couple of years. But I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know what's going to solve it. I don't know what's going to change. But it was a bad weekend for that discourse because generally it's just for a bad weekend for baseball.
What are the pitching matchups for this Brave series? I actually think we're getting unlucky and missing their two worst pitchers statistically this year with Strider and Freed. Freed, 5 innings and 2 starts, man. That must be a top 10 pitcher like all the Braves fans talk about every single year. He's so good.
Telling you guys for a few years that Max Fried's woefully overrated, and he's the guy. It's like, it's a strange thing that the Braves sign everybody to extensions as soon
Not
as they
him.
possibly can. He is a Boris guy, so I'll give him that. But it's just they won't do it. They won't sign him to an extension. But matchups this series: Monday night, Julio Teheran, Charlie Morton
Oh,
is not going to be that. It's not going to be that great. Wednesday night, Adrian Hauser versus Reynaldo Lopez, who looked awesome in his first start with the team. And then Thursday night, Jose Quintana, and it's going to be versus probably Bryce Elder because that's the Strider spot.
throw it
So it's either going
again.
to be him or AJ Smith. Yeah, I kind of want to crush him, but or either him or AJ Smith Shawver, who hasn't been great in AAA so far, and then Thursday afternoon matinee noon game. We have three 720s, then a nooner on Thursday. Luis Severino versus Max Fried in an ace off.
I am so thankful that I'm going to be in Florida this week playing golf. Might be able to miss a couple innings of these games because I'll tell you right now, they're gonna fucking just crush us. It's not gonna be close. I want to be positive and think that we have a shot, but even you, that sigh, the like, that's you trying to lie to yourself that maybe these games will be close. The Braves are they don't lose right now. They were down 6 runs to the Diamondbacks the other night, came back and won like it was nothing. Everybody in this lineup has an OPS close to 1,000 right now. I don't really know how we beat them, and oh god, I'm putting the expectations on the floor that if the Mets win one game, Mets win 2 games. Holy shit, they do anything more than that, I'm gonna throw a party. I'm gonna pop champagne in Florida. But God, this is scary to play this early in the season.
The worst part heading into the series is that the Braves, I would say, two best hitters in Ronald Acuna Jr. and Austin Riley are the only two guys in this team not
Yep,
hitting.
I
It
know.
seems like it seems like Acuna might have been cheating last year because the strikeout rate went all the way back to
Nice,
30% this year.
nice.
Now that he realizes Mookie Betts is the best player in
Well,
baseball, and it's just
remember the clips of the whistles in Atlanta
yeah,
that were suspicious?
okay,
Where's
people got
John
rid of
Boy
that one
doing his
quickly.
research on that? He only checks if Mets players are sliding.
So, and the Mets slide all the time. The Mets actually scored a run this series because they didn't slide, which was really funny too. But Marcell Ozuna, just the best person in baseball. This is why his third chances matter for guys like Marcell Ozuna. He's got 4 homers this season, and he's not striking out. Orlando Arcia leads the team in WAR, which is hilarious. It's kind of cheap early in the season. The shortstops are always going to lead the team in WAR because of like a 5 game, 7 game WAR sample is bullshit. But
Garrett Kelnick saying 600.
yeah, thank God that we have a lefty pitching this series because one game Jared Kelnick won't crush us in because he's not striking out too, which is I don't want to talk about it. I just don't want to talk about the fact
Thank
that he's
God
not
we don't
striking
have to
out.
do the estimate anymore either because I guarantee
Ugh,
Garrett Kelnick hits would have been the estimate.
ugh. painful. But yeah, thank God. I just win a game early in the series. Win one in the first 2 games, and then let's just try to steal another one because
Yeah,
after this series, we get Royals. I think we get Pirates, who those teams are actually both playing better baseball
good.
than I think we've
My
expected, which
Royals.
is Mark's Royals next and also just retiring Doc Gooden's number on a Saturday. So happy for Doc, but the level the level of disrespect and using Doc Gooden for a ticket grab in April is fucking awful by
Yeah,
this
it's bad luck.
organization. But just get through this lineup a few times. Let's just try and win a game or two because we have games every single day for the next 2 weeks. So just
Yes,
try here. Someone pitch 6 innings. I'm begging someone pitch 6 innings.
begging,
Julio, if
please.
Julio Teheran gives up more than 5 earned runs, he's a sleeper cell, and they want him out of this organization. I don't believe he's going to actually try and defeat the Braves on Monday night. I just don't believe it. I won't believe it till I see it. So just get through. And then Reynaldo Lopez is a guy just he's pitching really well. I was kind of half and half with my pitching predictions for the Red Series, where I talked about how gross Fernando Cruz is and his implosion blew the game, just walking everybody Friday night. But then I was kind of right, talking to Andrew Abbott, very hittable. That's hit him pretty well on Sunday. Should have scored more
Nice.
runs against him. But I'm scared Reynaldo Lopez just dices us the fuck up because his first start with his team, he looked awesome. The
But it also
fastballs, the
was against the
sliders.
White Sox, so
That's true. Also doesn't count. But this is me kind of trying to throw into the world. I think
mhm.
Reynaldo Lopez is amazing. He's
Well,
going
the
to dice.
Braves are going to win the World Series this year, so
Of course, there's no better team than the Braves. The Braves, even without Strider, they can't lose the World Series.
no, they're pitching everything. They're so good. Everybody on that team is coming in so hot this series. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's amazing. And then I think it's all the Brave series. Just one more thing I want to talk about. Cool thing from something in the Mets universe. Shout out Wayne Randazzo.
Yes, shout out Wayne.
Yeah. Legendary rant during the Angels game on Saturday night because MLB went back to a single that Nolan Shanuel hit on March 30th, I believe, and ruled an error. It was a ball that was hit pretty hard. It
Yeah,
was just a hot shot that it looked like probably like a 60-40 play should have been ruled a hit. For MLB to go back 7 days later, 8 days later, and take that hit off the board, that wound up breaking Nolan Shanuel's on base streak to start his major league career, 30 games, one of the longest in major league history. He was going for the record. For them to take that away retroactively, what the fuck are
bizarre,
you doing? How
bizarre.
many times does the National Basketball Association, does the reptile man Adam Silver take points off the board for LeBron James or Victor Wembanyama? No, not
Nope.
saying that Nolan Shanuel's on that level, but just you have a young player doing something cool. Why are you going in being a little grubby? Oh, well, it's not really a hit. Why are you trying to change that? And then Wayne took that and he rolled it into the uniform stuff. He rolled it into the arm injury stuff, and
Take a
it was a
shot
little
at
bit random.
Otani.
Major shot at Otani, which is
Yeah,
true. Major shot at Manfred. Shot at Fanatics. Love Wayne. Miss him as a member of the Mets family, and you felt just a little bit of Howie Rose in that rant, which
a
made me
little
very
bit.
happy.
Yeah, no, that was great to see from Wayne. Okay, we also have one review, James. We got a 1-star review. You ready for
Oh
this?
no,
We
yeah,
got a
tell
one
me, hit
star
me.
review. Comes from BGLAV, 1 star. That subject language dot 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 dot. Listening with my 8-year-old when they dropped the F word. Thought maybe a one-time thing. Consistent use of foul language throughout and no explicit tag. Decent content analysis, but can't listen with my kids. And not having the explicit tag makes it feel like you're hiding it. Listen, I love you, buddy. I hope you come back. The fuck word's not going anywhere. We're saying it. We couldn't say it for years. We were kept behind what I don't even know what the right word is. We were kept
Closed
prisoner
doors.
of behind closed doors. We were kept prisoner of using
Prisoner's a stretch. It was like a really nice white. It was a nice white collar prison with
it
really good
was
amenities.
yeah, it
It
was
was a
Martha
good
Stewart's
prison.
prison. Yeah.
I'd go back to that prison. The worst part was the Dementors, but I'd go
Yeah.
back to that
Oh,
prison.
I'd go back I'd serve every single day. But
We've had some negative YouTube comments about that too, which is funny. But I mean, maybe we'll just tone it down from like 12 an episode to like 6 an episode, which is
yeah, it
I'll never forget though the dad the first year we did this show who was like,
was the
"Hey,
best.
I love your guys' podcast. The curses aren't great, but and he had like his kid with him. I don't tell his mother.
That's how it should be. And listen, I understand. I apologize. I will apologize for
Apologies.
saying the F word if you've made it this far. We will try to cut it back. I know I just said it like a second ago. That's for the bit, that's for fun, that's for entertainment. But it is a word and this is a learning experience. Hey, don't say that word. This is when you say it. We use it well. I will say that. It is not used excessively.
No, and like we're not kids. We can say this word, and
I
like
can say it
maybe
all I want.
maybe we can say maybe we are trying to hide a little bit just because we're working on some algorithm stuff right now. We're also getting a lot of YouTube pay because we're still doing the clickbaity titles. We're
We're
trying to get
always
some listeners,
doing it.
guys.
It's not
We're trying,
changing.
we're trying to get a couple bucks here. And also one more stat, shout out a Twitter follower, fan of the pod, Jibby the Hippie. Carlos Mendoza was the fourth Mets manager all time to start his career 0-5. Can you name the
Ooh.
other three?
Willie Randolph.
Yes.
Uh, no, I can't name the other ones.
Casey Stengel, Bobby Valentine.
Legends. They brought us to the World
Right?
Series.
And Mets up guys, everyone who joined the home run derby. We have the home run derby. It's all live. I updated it fully. Did all data entry this weekend, so going to keep that going. Probably update once a week through the season. I'll check the leaderboard real quick, shout out who's winning right now, and I'm gonna tweet. I think I've tweeted the leaderboard before. Maybe I
There you
haven't
go.
actually. If you're in it, I DM'd you the leaderboard. So go to that if you haven't done that yet. I'll tweet it out next week when I put out the scoreboard. Probably Friday or Sunday will be the plan for that. But Golditz 22 was winning with 24 home runs. Behind him is Sort the Rational 22, Bones 091, a bunch of numbers 22, and then the legend, the koala, Nick Kowal, who set this up for me. Everyone shout out Nick
Let's go,
Kowal.
Nick.
Nick Kowal for this. Is great Excel skills, some V lookups, some really fun stuff. Got this going for us. He's in third, 21 home runs.
Thanks. Yeah. Good luck, guys. Keep doing well. If you've enjoyed what you've listened to on this episode, you want to see a video version of this, go check out the Mets'd podcast YouTube channel. Once James gets back, there will be more content on there. We need to separate ourselves from just podcast episodes. So
Yeah,
quizzes, vlogs, all that kind of stuff we'll be doing over there soon, probably in May. So go subscribe over there. If you are listening, Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google, Odyssey, drop us a rating, drop us a review, download and subscribe. Again, we'll read the bad reviews. We just did. We got a one
everything.
star. Hand up. We're trying to get better. We want to make sure that you guys think your voices are heard over here because we want you guys to feel like you're a part of the community. And if you do want to be more a part of the community, you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Mets'd as well. We're posting stuff over there. James, what's your Twitter?
James_Shiano.
And I'm Giraffe Neck Mark with a C. Thank you guys for listening and watching, and we'll catch you after, hopefully, a positive Brave series. Peace out, guys.
Peace out. See you guys next time. Let's go, Mets.